If that one's not ready
All ready, Jim?
Yep.
We'll call the meeting for the Planning Commission to order for Thursday, May 16, 2024. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Crompton?
Here.
Mr. Heath? Mr. Tella? Mr. Orlando?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Ms. Rohr? Here. Mr. Rusinellos?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here. Next, are any questions on the minutes submitted to Planning Commissioners? Seeing none, I have motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Orlando?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr? Aye. Mr. Rusinellos?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
All right. We got you.
Well, before we get on to the agenda, I just want to introduce Lauren Helen. She's taken over for Karen Mackley. She's our new administrative assistant, so she's going to be learning the ropes and eventually taking it over herself, but she's being assisted by Sonia there that I think you all know. So
And you have a
that's-
stenographer now?
that was new to me, but apparently so. I think they're representing someone else
okay.
here. So, yep. First on the agenda, then after that would be citizens to be heard on agenda items. Anybody that would like to speak on an agenda item can at this time, but please be aware at Plan Commission we do allow you to speak when the case is called. But anyone wanting to speak now can do so. Seeing none, we can go to old business public hearing. We have none. Under old business, we have none. Under new business public hearing, our first case is A224, annexation of 19535 Northeast Frontage Road, classification to R5 multifamily residential zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. PUD 324, preliminary plan unit development of the preserved townhomes, and PUD 424, final plan unit development of the preserved townhomes. Under general information, the applicant is Kelk Holdings, LLC. Status of the applicant, they are the owners. Requested action is approval of an annexation agreement at 19535 Northeast Frontage Road and classification R5 zoning, and approval of the preliminary and final plan unit development of the preserved townhomes. Purpose is to allow development of a 90-unit townhome community. Under existing zoning, Will County A1 agricultural is what they're currently zoned, and they're asking for the R5 zoning with us. Location, again, is 19535 Northeast Frontage Road. The size is approximately 7.68 acres. Existing land use is undeveloped. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is commercial truck dealer, Village of Shorewood, I-2 general industrial. To the south is forest preserve, unincorporated Will County A1 agricultural. To the east is industrial with a concrete-ready mixed plant manufacturing use there, Village of Shorewood. They have I-2 general industrial zoning, and unincorporated Will County also is there at A1 agricultural. And then also to the west is residential, Deer Run Estates and Deer Run Townhouses. And they are zoned Joliet R4, multifamily residential and commercial. auto repair and storage units, and that's all in the village of Shorewood B3 General Commercial. Under site history, the 8.47 acre subject site is located within unincorporated Will County and is currently undeveloped. Most of the parcel lies within the city of Joliet boundary area for annexation. However, the entrance at the northwest corner of the site lies within Shorewood's planning boundary. The annexation request includes only the 7.68 acres that lie within Joliet's boundary area. The 0.79 acres at the northwest corner will remain in unincorporated Will County. In March 2022, the Plan Commission reviewed an annexation request for the same site in association with a development proposal for a truck and trailer repair and parking operation. The Plan Commission voted to recommend denial of that petition. The petition was subsequently withdrawn and was not heard by the City Council. Under special information, the planning and development of the preserved townhomes consists of 90 townhome units on approximately 8.47 acres. There are 14 townhome buildings, 7 8-unit buildings, 4 6-unit buildings, 2 3-unit buildings, and 1 4-unit building. The density for the development is 10.6 units per acre. The requested zoning classification is R5 multifamily residential zoning, which permits a density of 10 units per acre. The 2-story townhome units range from around 1,150 to 1,200 square feet and will each contain 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Units would be sold to individual owners. The petitioner expects sale prices for the units to range between $260,000 and $290,000, not including the garage units, which would be sold separately. The development will have a homeowners association which will be responsible for maintenance of all common areas. The proposal includes 180 surface parking spaces located in front of the buildings and 44 garage units located along the east side of the site. This exceeds the parking requirements for 90 units, which is 135 spaces. The exterior materials for the proposed 2-story buildings are fiber cement board and stone. Architectural elevations, floor plans, landscaping plans, and a tree survey are attached. A narrative with phasing, financing, and marketing information is also attached. The site is located adjacent to an industrial property containing a concrete ready-mix plant and a manufacturing facility. There's an existing access driveway off northeast frontage road that runs east-west along the north side of the subject site and serves these 2 facilities. Proposed development will also use this driveway. The townhome buildings will be served by a new private road that loops off the existing driveway. The proposed garage buildings are designed as a buffer between the industrial property and the townhome development. The 2 buildings are located along the east property line and have a high rear roof to create a taller barrier on the 1-story garages. The main elevation of the garage buildings will complement the townhome buildings, while the rear elevation facing the adjacent concrete plant will use EIFS for the exterior material. The 14 townhome buildings and 2 garage buildings would each be on their own lot, with outlots for the private drive and the 3 storm detention areas. Water and sewer connection fees, school donation fees, and development impact fees will be required for this development. The petitioner will need to create an agreement with the Joliet Park District for a cash contribution in lieu of a land dedication as part of the approval of the plan unit development. It should be noted that the petitioner held a neighborhood meeting about their proposal on April 25th. The petitioner sent meeting notices to residents of the Deer Run and Wooded Creek subdivisions for this meeting, and that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand?
We're here.
Can you step forward, please? You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name.
Nathaniel Washburn with KGG LLC, 111 North Ottawa Street here in Joliet.
And what would you like to add? Anything to this?
No, I think staff did a very good job of summarizing this. It's a 90 townhome development. This site's a tricky site to develop. It's kind of sandwiched between a cement facility in a residential neighborhood, and it also has the added joy of having a boundary agreement splitting our driveway between Joliet and Shorewood. So we've contacted Shorewood, and it's our understanding that if we proceed forward and this gets approved, they would be asking us to annex in that portion of our drive to their property or to their municipality for access purposes, unless an agreement can be reached with Joliet to amend the boundary agreement, which again is slightly out of my hands. But otherwise, we think it's a good use for the site. We've taken a lot of pains and gone through many different iterations of this. The driveways or the garages are where they are to serve as a buffer between the cement facility and the homes. That's why, they're aligned in the configuration they are. And, we have put a lot of thought into this. We are exploring other amenities for the site, including working with the county and the Forest Preserve District to perhaps extend and connect some walking trails as the Forest Preserve is to the southeast of our property. And I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody on the commission might
The
have.
garages back up to the Deer Creek, I think it is?
Deer Run is right, if you look at the map that's on the screen, it would be due south, but it's actually due west.
West of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it beats a trucking facility. Have any questions from any commissioners?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Sir, I'd like to find out, you say there's going to be 14 townhome buildings?
Yes.
14? Okay. How many units are going to be in each building?
As staff pointed out, there's varying sizes of buildings, the smallest being 4, and I believe the largest being 8. There's a total of 90 units.
90 units?
Yes.
Okay, well, I added up 8-unit buildings, 6-unit, and 3-unit, and then a 4-unit, and it only came up to 21 units. So where's the other 90 units? Is it going to be in the townhomes?
I'm not tracking the question. So each building has multiple townhomes in it. So an 8-unit building is 8 townhomes for that building.
Right.
So based on the number of units, we have 90 laid out across the entire site in various configurations, from 3 to a building to a maximum of 8 to a building.
Okay. And another thing I have, the two, oh yeah, the 2-car garages, is all the units going to have 2-car garages?
No, there are not enough garage units for all, which is why they're, again, it was used as a buffer first and foremost, but in addition, it's essentially going to be a perk to, acquire a garage for your unit.
So how many garages are there going to be then? in the back?
I forget the exact number that's laid out on the plat, but
You don't have a number yet?
no, they're
Oh, they have it.
44. They have a number, I
44?
just can't read it from here.
Oh, okay, 44. Okay, another thing too, are these units, these townhomes, are they going to be on slabs?
Yes.
Or crawl space, or
Slab,
they'll be all slabs?
that's my understanding, yes.
So, all the people are going to need, they're going to need some kind of storage area, aren't they, for their,
The garages have been designed such that there will be storage space above the garage. So those who have garages will have storage space. Those who don't will either have to store it in their home, in closets or other places, or as Joliet has several of them, there are many storage facilities that even those of us with larger homes still find an ability to clutter up our houses and still need storage space. So there are alternative avenues available.
okay. And the 2-story townhomes, they're going to be 1,550 to 1,200 square feet with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths?
Correct.
So, okay, so they're going to be a 2-story unit then, right?
Yes. It's, so each unit is 2 stories. It's not like there's going to be 1 unit here and 1 unit above it. It's, they're all going vertically. They are all just 2 stories. So there'll be a ground level and a second floor.
Okay. I took a ride out there, and I talked to the guy that owns the Freedom Automotive, and he told me that they're going to build a private road off of the frontage road to go all the way to the back. And they're also gonna keep the road for the Prairie Materials.
Who is the they? The Freedom Automotive or us?
No, Freedom Automotive, the guy that, he rents the building, he rents the automotive shop.
So all I can tell you is our design is to access the existing road, as you can see on the site, and go through and hook back up to the existing road. Our road will be private and maintained by the association. If anybody else is suggesting they're going to be putting a road through property not owned by them, it's news to me, because nobody has the right to put a second road through that property without my client's permission.
Okay, now, your property goes from the gravel, the Prairie Materials Road, up to is it the chain link fence? Then there's also a tin building that's right on the opposite side, just to the south of the chain link fence.
Are you referring to the building that is to the southwest that's off of our property? Or are you referring to one of the various buildings that's on Prairie Materials property?
Are you gonna own the,
We own what's highlighted on this map, and we have the ability to control our property and our property alone. So if somebody is going to run a separate road across our property, they would either need one of two things: a pre-existing right to do it or our permission to do it. And I'm not aware of us having been contacted to put any additional roads through our property. And if some other person intends to improve a road, again, they either need to contact us and seek our permission, which again, with our current proposal, would not be granted. So I'm still not tracking the question.
well, the question is that the guy that owns the Freedom Automotive, he told me that they're gonna build a separate road between the Prairie Materials Road and by the chain link fence.
There's
gonna
no
be a-
new,
there's
there's
gonna
no
be a
new
separate-
road being proposed by
There
this
isn't?
developer. They're gonna use, they have plans to use the existing road is all, the existing drive. It's not a road, it's a
Okay.
private drive, but they are not proposing to change that.
They're not?
They are
And we
not.
don't represent Freedom Automotive, and to the best
No, I
of my
know you
knowledge,
don't.
we haven't been contacted by Freedom Automotive. So without our permission, they couldn't run another road or access over our property.
Okay, I got another question for you. What's this EIFS? What does that,
Exterior insulation finished system is
Oh,
what
okay.
EFS stands for.
for the?
It's just, drive it is another term for it. It's just an exterior material of
Okay,
building
I got you.
material.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I think it's gonna be kind of a tough sell to sell all these condos back there, isn't it? Or townhomes, I mean?
Well, there's, in speaking, and I've been to many city council meetings, there is constant requests for more housing in and around the city of Joliet and Will County as a whole. It's a known problem. There are more residential developments coming forward. I believe this commission and the city council within the last couple of months approved a large townhome development on the far west side of Joliet.
Yeah, but
So-
that's all residential.
So is this. I mean,
Well,
there's residential right next
you
door
got-
in Deer Run, and those people have been there for
You got-
many, many decades now.
Yeah, but you have industrial here, and you also have a Wilbur Vault Company is way in the back,
Correct.
so.
So again, that's why the difference between this development and say the previous one that this commission and the council approved is, again, the price point. You know, those are very pricey units on the far west side. These are designed to be affordable units that can be attained by the, working class individual here in Joliet, which is why they're being priced at the point that they are.
Okay. One more question here. I still don't understand you got 14 townhome buildings, right? And how many units are gonna be in those townhomes?
As I've explained, there are 3 different sizes. Well, I think technically 4. I believe there's a 4-unit, 2 3-units, several 6 units, and more than that in 8-unit buildings. So an 8-unit building consists of 8 townhomes. A 3-unit building consists of 3 townhomes. There's a total of 90 units.
90 units all total, okay. Okay, and the, off of the frontage road, that's gonna be the only access to get into the back section? Off the frontage?
So our property, as you can see from the designs, the current existing drive will either be improved or, what's necessary to meet with Joliet's code to then connect a private, essentially loop, which is going to service all these properties. So our rights end at our property line, so it does continue on into the Prairie Materials site. However, our property is going to connect in over the existing road, so access would come in and out of the frontage road. There's no other means of accessing this
Okay.
townhome.
And there's only gonna be 3 streets out there, right? Doe Court, Caribou Court, and Whitetail Court, right? That's it?
Those are existing in Deer Run. Those have nothing to do with us.
Well, what,
Unless we're considering, and I haven't seen what proposed street names we have for the roads that we have internally, if there's some desire on the city's part to continue the naming, but typically the Deer Run, their subdivision ends in a cul-de-sac bulb, and I don't anticipate we cannot get through their existing homes to connect to those cul-de-sac bulbs. We don't have the rights to do that, nor would anybody recommend that as being viable. But second, I don't believe there's any intention to name any of our streets as a continuation of a dead-end cul-de-sac.
oh, okay, okay. Okay. That's about the only questions I have.
Anybody else have any questions? Are there any pros or cons from the citizens? Seeing none, can I have a motion for a?
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
you have one? Go ahead. Swear to tell the truth, ma'am, the whole truth, nothing but truth.
I do.
State your name, please.
Sure. My name is Jody Henninger. I'm an attorney with Kling & Cowell and McLean in Lisle, Illinois. And I'm here to represent Prairie Ready Mix, the neighbor that's adjacent to this development. You should have received a package of information from me yesterday, which contained some presentation materials, an affidavit from an expert we've engaged named Mike Morose, and qualifications for that expert, Mr. Morose. I'd also like to introduce the team that we have here from Prairie today, which consists of Chris Rapp, VP and GM of Prairie Ready Mix, John Rapp, Associate General Counsel for Prairie Ready Mix, Tim Huner, General Manager, and Mitch Mariotti, which is Senior Manager. As you're aware, the Prairie Ready Mix plant is located adjacent to and east of this proposed development. This raises a lot of concerns for Prairie. And to start with, I'd like to turn it over to Mitch Mariotti to explain a little bit about their business to you. Thank you.
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but truth?
I do.
State your name again.
My name is Mitch Mariotti. I'm the Senior Manager for Lands and Environment for Voter In Team Cement North America, parent company of Prairie Material Sales.
Okay.
I've been with the company for 30 years. The company has owned this property as part of its operation since 2004. That property that we operate in Shorewood currently has existed as a ready-mix concrete plant since 1985. It was owned by another family previously. Previous owners to VCNA purchased that in 2004, so it's been there even before all the surrounding neighborhoods there in Deer Run as a concrete plant. And I'm here to speak to you today a little bit about what the concrete plant does and how busy we are, and present some of the concerns that we have, major safety concerns about building residential property next to a ready-mix concrete plant. We have a lot of history regarding neighborhoods growing up around our concrete plants. I myself have been experienced this a number of times in my 30 years of experience, and it never ends well for the concrete company, and that's why we're here. So we want to get out in front of this and let you folks know we have some serious concerns. And as we discussed earlier, if we were here proposing to build a concrete plant next to an existing townhome facility, you guys would probably laugh us out of the room. Well, the issues are still the same here, and we're going to talk about those real quick. So we manufacture ready-mix concrete at this facility. In its peak days, this concrete plant is capable of producing between 800 and 1,000 cubic yards of concrete. That translates into roughly 100 to 125 round-trip truck trips going in and out of that property. And to mix that with the residential property traffic, as well as the school buses, pedestrians, school kids playing on skateboards, just concerns us greatly. In addition to those 100 to 125 truckloads of ready-mix concrete, we also have inbound material trucks on the order of 50 to 60, and this is per day when we're operating. It's not that busy every day, but it is pretty close to being that busy every day of our operating season. And we're just getting into there now. The plant's about ready to operate and open it up. So we have some grave concerns about all of our truck traffic, inbound and outbound, and the round trips the ready-mix trucks are taking, being in such close proximity to a residential development. Our big safety concerns are obviously school buses. There are no doubt there will be children living in this subdivision here as well. And the thought of having a bus stop on the corner on that access road with all the inbound truck traffic just terrifies us, to be honest with you, for a myriad of reasons, safety being the primary thing. The other safety issues we have are just conflicts of ingress and egress. Trucks coming in, trucks coming out. The trucks are big. They're not planning on improving the road beyond what's already there. The slab, I don't know what the city will make them build in addition to that, but it won't get any wider, is what I'm understanding. So we've got these 80,000-pound ready-mix trucks, 80,000-pound material trucks coming in and out. They're big, they're long, they're heavy. They don't stop well, they don't accelerate well, and they turn corners really, really wide. I see nothing but conflict trying to navigate through our pedestrian traffic and trying to intermingle all that with our ready-mix trucks. So that's a big concern right there. And one of the other conflicts that we have, probably our single biggest concern, is trespassing there. Right now, there is no fence to control access around this ready-mix plant. And with children, no doubt, living in this subdivision and other curious people, it just bears the reason that there's going to be people finding their way into the concrete plant. Lots of wide open paved spaces. There'll be kids that'll want to skateboard and do whatever on the concrete plant just simply because we're not there, like on a Saturday afternoon or on a Sunday, for example, if the plant's vacant. The sandstone and gravel stockpiles that are there that are open, those too will be attractive to kids and could be a dangerous thing if somebody gets trapped or falls off of one of them. No doubt a child will find its way to that location. The trucks and equipment, they're big, they're colorful. They're going to be there, and the kids are going to be tempted to climb all over those as well. And we worry about vandalism as well. So our operation, we experience this a lot when the homes get built across the street from the ready-mix plants, is people complain about our operating hours and the noise. This plant can be open as early as 5 a.m. to start operations, and there's going to be lots of bangings of tailgates. There's going to be backup alarms on various pieces of equipment. There's going to be all sorts of loud noises from the plant, air actuators operating gates and things on bins and on conveyors, and vibrators that are going to wake up the neighborhoods. And then all of a sudden the concrete plant that's been there since 1985 becomes the problem to people who are living close by. And the type of work done at this facility, well, we manufacture ready-mix concrete. That goes without saying here. And we've got about 25 to 30 employees that are permanently there when the plant is fully operational. We park about, is it 38 trucks? Is that what it was? 38 trucks there. So that's how many are permanently stationed there. And it could flow, or it could ebb or flow depending on the workload that tends to come and go. We own a number of plants in the area, and there may be years, there may be times where it's busier than that or less busy than that. So there may be more trucks parked there. And we also have operating rights from the Illinois EPA to control and operate this plant and to discharge stormwater under a permit, as well as to manufacture in an environment where there may be dust produced, and we are able to control that. This is all permitted activity from the Illinois EPA. We hold those permits. We had such a plant has existed in 1985. But yet the concrete plant will become the problem when people will see that we do these things, and they're going to complain about dust. They're going to complain about water being discharged when we're within our legal rights to do that. We are permitted to do that from the Illinois EPA. Let's see. Heights of the buildings exist at Prairie Materials. We appreciate that they put their proposed garage development against there to help screen that, but our buildings are still probably in the order of 50 to 60 feet tall. You're still going to see the concrete plant, in spite of the fact they've got their garage structures there. So it's going to become a visual problem, and all this, again, we've been through this so many times with other developments. People see the presence of the concrete plant as the problem, and they don't recognize until after they move in. Then we're dealing with complaints to the city, complaints to the EPA, all for doing what we've been doing there since 1985, and within our perfect legal rights to do that. And we find ourselves having to spend time with folks from the various cities that that manage the municipality, as well as the regulatory agencies, all because we're just doing what we've normally been doing. And generally, it never ends well for the concrete plant. We've been through this a number of times, and when the residents move into these developments, the only solution that they see to their problems being the concrete plant is that the concrete plant gets shut down. That's black and white, and 100% of the time, that's the only acceptable solution to the folks who move into these subdivisions. So we're here, we presented a number of safety concerns primarily, but we had the right to be there. We've had the right to operate there for almost 40 years, and we would like for you folks to take these concerns, most of them safety related, very seriously when you consider approving this development.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
I still have a few more comments. Thank you. Sorry to take so much of your time, but we find this a very important issue. When I did submit my packet, I had a number of photos of the Prairie Mechanical plant, the materials plant, so you can see it. Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to put up a PowerPoint, but there are pictures in the presentation material that I sent, so hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. So you can see that this is a heavy industrial plant that we're talking about. I don't think anyone would relish having this in their backyard. One thing we would like to point out is that it's the developer's responsibility to prove to you all that this is, pursuant to Illinois law, the highest and best use of this property. And in doing so, there are 8 factors that the courts look to. The existing uses of nearby property is one of them. And as we stated, the industrial use being so close to this residential use is really not compatible. Prairie, just to note, was not opposed to the 24-hour trucking facility that was proposed previously. Something that's more in keeping with that in a transitional area such as this. Maybe not 24 hours, but something like that is more in keeping with this area. Another factor is the extent to which a particular zoning restriction diminishes property values. Well, if this residential development is permitted to go forward, it really does threaten to diminish the value of Prairie Ready Mix's business and their property value. And that's why we have an expert that we submitted an affidavit from. I hope you all have had a chance to look at that. The next factor is this extent to which the factor diminishes the petitioner's property values and promotes health and safety and morals of the general welfare of the public. Well, as we've noted, this is a concern of safety. This access drive, if you've looked at it at all, it's a very narrow access drive.
Ma'am, can I stop you for 1 second? Did you send some kind of paperwork with all this information to us?
I did. I submitted it yesterday pursuant to your rules.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that email.
It was emailed.
I didn't get nothing.
Okay.
Well, I hope you have
Okay,
the
go
chance to go back and look at that, before you take your vote, or decide to table your vote today. So the access drive that is there is they're not anticipating in improving, in any shape as far as the dimensions. It goes right back to my client's property. And if you see the loop that is created for the new townhomes, where the northern loop comes, or not, yeah, what would be the easternmost loop comes out, it's exactly adjacent to the property of where Prairie Materials is. So the heavy truck traffic is going right there where their cars would be exiting. We actually spoke to a traffic consultant as part of this, and they said that that creates a huge hazard, and they do not think that that would be wise to have that set up. The next factor is the relative gain to the public as compared to the hardship imposed upon the individual property owner. As I spoke to, Prairie Ready Mix's hardship here is unquantifiable. Neighborhood complaints and dangerous conditions threaten to take over their operations if this is approved. And not to mention, Joliet's going to be left dealing with all these issues when the neighbors are complaining about this noise and calling to complain all the time about the issues with this. The suitability of the subject property for the zone purpose, again, this is problematic. Residential development does not belong on top of high industrial uses. There's a couple more factors that don't really apply, so I won't go through those to make this any longer than it needs to be. But as I mentioned earlier, we did submit an affidavit from Michael Morose and also his background and CV with all his detailed experience. He's an expert that's testified in more than 200 matters concerning land use. His opinion upon initial review is this development will cause a diminution in value in the prairie property, and it's not the highest and best use of the development parcel. It also is an unnecessary risk for health and safety for the neighborhood, and it's incompatible with heavy industrial use, which includes the heavy traffic and industrial noise that is generated by prairie materials. Michael Morose is able and willing, and we're happy to pay him to do a full report for your consideration, especially on this diminution of value issue. However, we were not given enough time to produce that for today's meeting. So again, we would ask that you consider continuing the vote on this matter until we can produce that for your consideration. So in conclusion, there are a number of factors that are troublesome for Prairie Ready Mix. This access road proposal is not safe. Heavy industrial use is not compatible with a residential development right at its doorstep. And as Mitch mentioned, we ask that you consider that if you are being asked to put a Prairie Ready Mix concrete plant next to a residential development, I think your vote would be a resounding no. So this is just the opposite of that scenario. So thank you. We appreciate your consideration on tabling this matter and or voting no to this development. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Thank you.
I have one question. I don't know if it's going to be for staff or if it'll be for you, for the petitioner. Who currently maintains the road? I know that it's Shorewood, it said, or unincorporated Will County, but who currently plows or maintains the road?
We do, Prairie Material does.
Okay.
And we have the right to use that over an easement with the owner. So it's not a publicly dedicated street. It is an easement, access easement that is there for their use.
I got a question. Back in the back property, there's I think it's Canower Industries, correct?
Yeah, the vault company?
Right.
Correct.
Okay, I've been back there because my wife actually used to work for them.
Okay.
And in the summer, it gets pretty dusty and dry all the way to the back and going forward. So, I mean, I've been back there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dusty. So, I mean, that's another issue that has to go forward with that.
Yes, correct.
Do we have precedent for another subdivision or housing, R3, 4, whatever, that has where their entryway is not part of Joliet, it's not annexed? Do we have any other subdivision like that? Because I can't think of anything.
None that I can think of. I mean, we share roadways with the county and other municipalities all over town, but this one is probably even
Unique.
more unique than that. This not being even a road, this is a private drive. But there's shared drives and roadways, again, with other municipalities in the county and the township.
So
all throughout the
in a
city.
situation like this, let's say, they move in, now they have 180 cars. I mean, obviously the trucks are going to be doing more damage to the roadway than 180 cars a day in and out. But they're called the Preserve, right? The Preserve townhomes, are they then responsible for any of that upkeep, or does the homeowner association have say as to what happens to that roadway?
I
How
think
does that
that they
work?
would then have shared responsibility. I don't know the terms of that easement, but it's likely they have shared responsibility of that driveway maintenance. Would
Okay.
not be city responsibility. It's between those property owners that use it only.
Exactly, and so the petitioner had said, I don't know, I think he's still here, right? Nate? Oh, there you are. Sorry, in the back there. He had stated that, you know, it would maybe a possibility to annex eventually it into Joliet, but we would have to have all parties that use that road agree to want to do that if that was the situation. Is that correct?
Shorewood.
No?
Shorewood is asking them to annex that little flag piece in the front, because that's in their boundary
Okay,
area right now. Our
Okay.
boundary agreement with Shorewood cuts right through there.
okay,
And so unless we amend that, and I don't think that's due to be amended until like 2030,
yeah.
that's in Shorewood's boundary area. And based on what the petitioner said, Shorewood was requesting that that be annexed to them, that little flag piece out to the frontage road.
Got it.
Any other questions? Mr. Regis has a question for you. Let's say hypothetically this went through and 10 years from now, it's all packed, kids, everybody else, and they all start complaining to the city council. Can the city shut down a business or make the business move or do anything to a business to affect them? They lose their business because all the people are complaining because dust, dirt, noise, whatever, the kids are falling off the sand piles and they're not supposed to be over there. Can the city force anything on the business?
Well, that business is not in the city, so that to do something would require separate legal action between other parties.
So then the business would have to get lawyers to defend themselves with lawsuits from all these people then, huh?
That would be up to them.
Okay. Anyone else that has anything they would like to add? Yep, well, step up. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but truth?
I do.
State your name, please.
Margaret Harris Lawler. I am a homeowner on the, for the Deer Run Estates. And I actually live on the back end of Whitetail Court. While I have several degrees and I've been to law school, I can't for the life of me, I'm not map literate. So could somebody explain to me exactly where these homes are going? Because the map that I'm looking at looks like they're dropping them down in the forest preserve behind our homes.
If you could bring up the aerial map.
I'd agree
Yeah,
with that's
so-
exactly what's happening.
Okay.
Go back to that other one, I think that,
Where-
no,
one.
the next one. That one there. Oh, that's small. You could see how where Deer Run Estates is in relationship to this green.
I don't
Greenish.
see it labeled.
Deer Run, if you go up close to it, you can see it. I think the other one was better with the blue and it.
This is Deer Run Estates, all in here.
Okay.
This small greenish area.
Is what they're talking about.
Smaller greenish area is the site in question, this preserve proposal,
So that is in our backyard,
Yeah,
in some of your backyard.
in so to speak.
in two of the streets.
And I totally agree with Ready Mix. Totally. I worked in construction as a contract manager for over 25 years. So the safety concerns, I am totally against this.
Okay, thank you. Someone else wants to speak? Go ahead, come on up. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but truth?
Absolutely.
State your name, please.
My name's Robert Larson. I live in Deer Run. This project is coming up right behind my house. I wish you'd come and saw me, Dominic. I'd have took you for a walk on the other end. I've been there 30 years. Right after I got out of Caterpillar, I left Plainfield. I figured Joliet was a better deal. This here is making me think, I don't know. You got 100 homeowners in Deer Run. I'm on the board of directors, but I'm not here representing the board. I'm here as a homeowner. When you buy a house anyplace, your whole life is there. You own this puppy. I'm against this due to the fact concrete plant was there before I was. I've been there, I'm one of the originals, 30 years. I have no problem with the concrete plant, except 10 o'clock at night I hear jackhammers going, I don't know what they're doing. We get a lot of dust. You can come look at my deck. I can live with it. I have lived with it. What they're wanting to put in there ain't gonna work. Number one, when we had the great flood, that place was a giant lake back there on the backside of this berm, which comes on my property. And the berm's got wild trees growing on it, plus the builder had planted trees on it, a lot of which have expired, just like I'm gonna do. I'm 84, but I live with it. These trees will not buffer the dust, dirt, or the noise. Like I say, they were there before me. Wasn't advertised as such, but this is the way I bought it. You live with it. I'd be really upset if I went and bought a piece of this property, a unit, and find out I got all this going on. How come they didn't advertise this? These guys have taken their money and giddy up, they're out of town. Joliet gets stuck with the problem and the homeowner. This is no good. Your road out there is breaking down if you look at it. Shorewood maintains it. The edges are breaking down, we're starting to get holes in it and everything. You had 100, 150 cars a day. It's wicked. And in your wisdom, I know one gentleman, Dom, but you guys, in your wisdom, I hope and pray you turn this thing down. I really do, and I appreciate you letting me say what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone else wants to speak? Come on up, sir. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your name, please.
My name is Russ Erickson, and I live on Doe Court. Okay. On the frontage road, since new businesses were built, and I'm sure more will follow with land still available, owners are saying that we have people living in Deer Run and walking to work. These people walk to work at all hours of the day and night, 24/7. One owner that I talked to was alarmed to individuals walking down the street at 4 in the morning. This new housing development could lead to many more problems like this, with workers making pathways over our properties and our backyards, taking away all our sense of security. I don't think anybody wants people walking by their bedroom windows anytime, day or night. Back in the mid-1990s, when Deer Run was built, there were far fewer businesses on the frontage road. Thankfully, the builder had the foresight to see the future issues that could come without a buffer fence. That cedar 10-foot fence was quite a neighborly thing to do on the builder's part, and makes this neighborhood still thrive today. This new possible project needs to have its own berm with its own 10-foot fence on top. This fence is a high priority for the residents directly affected, but for the whole neighborhood in general. This also will prevent children from playing on or in the properties and cut down on the possibility of any criminal activity in both developments. This new proposed project is so dense, it has no areas for children to play or socialize, unlike all the new beautiful planned housing developments off the same frontage road south of Jefferson Street. The project also raises the possibility for kids to explore the extremely close cement plant and beyond, which is a severe safety issue. Cutting down the trees will impact all the wildlife. That's been the main reason we all live here. These trees that were declared invasive at the last meeting cut down on the dust and noise from the cement plant. In my talks with the Morton Arboretum and a long-time local certified board arborist, I found out that the city should require the developer to install at least 8 inches of mulch with wood mats on top to try and protect the root zones of all these so-called invasive trees that are on our properties. This high priority issue also raises the possibility of countless trees on our properties dying due to the improper root zone protection. As we in Deer Run follow our rules of our HOA, we must remove all trees that die naturally or by storm. I would hope the city would require the developer to be responsible for trees on our properties due to the sensitivity of the root zones. We as homeowners shouldn't have to bear the cost of any dead trees on our properties that were alive before the bulldozers came. Questions were asked at the meeting why the development wasn't designed similar to Deer Run. The lawyers said they can't build similar because of today's codes. But if I understand correctly, they're asking for a variance to go above current density codes. I know the city is working on redevelopment on high-density projects that have been proven time and time again 50-year-old thinking does not work with today's society. Having to take many detours around town, I drove through a beautiful little area called Water's Edge off Route 53. What a great change from the past. A nice mix of ranches, 2 stories, attached garages, sidewalks, and parkways. The city currently seems to be exploding with these same types of developments, which all seem to be 2-story. Maybe we need to work on some ranch-style units for seniors and disabled folks, which also was discussed at the meeting. When discussed at the meeting, we were told the development will be under an HOA, but I was informed by the city planner that it will not be owner-occupied. This was not presented at the meeting, and I would hope the city has this changed to be strictly owner-occupied to better serve both communities. I think Deer Run is entitled to the respect it deserves for a community of over 29 years, and we all look forward to this property being developed in a reasonable manner that's livable for everyone involved. But I don't think we're quite there yet. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have quite a few names on a petition too from people in the neighborhood that are extremely concerned, as I am, if you need it.
Thank you.
Just as a point of clarification, my conversation with him was that these are to be owner occupied, but if an owner wanted to rent them out, there's nothing that could prevent somebody from doing that. Just like if somebody owned a single family house, they could rent that out.
Yeah.
But this is not a rental community up front. This is owner occupied units being presented here.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Well, Mr. Terry?
Mm-hmm.
Well, eventually then, if this is gonna be a tough sell for the developer, then probably, more than likely, it'll be all rental occupancy then, right?
It's possible, you know,
Right,
that
very
could
possible.
happen. Yep.
So
But-
you could involve Section 8 housing then also. It could happen.
That could
It
happen
could be
next door to me
I understand it
in
could be
a
hypothetical,
single family
but
house.
It could happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting into that, you know, that is always a fear that comes up, but that is not what's being proposed here.
Right. It's not
again,
proposed now, I understand.
Yes.
Anyone else wish, come on up, sir.
Just on that subject alone, in Deer Run, we have what they call a no renters clause in our
Condominium thing.
government
Association,
documents. And if you own it, you live in it. You cannot rent. What you probably have to do is, if they gotta have an HOA there, I mean, God knows where they're gonna put snow, on top of the houses, you ain't got any place to put it. But the thing is the HOA is gonna have to do that, because I don't think the city's gonna come out and do that.
No, they're not. Okay. Does anybody else wish to speak? Go to the mic, I can't hear you, man.
When would the interest be to this development?
Right off that road that goes into the concrete plant.
Off the frontage
Off
road.
of Frontage Road?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
only access in and out that is there.
Thank you.
Does anybody wish to speak for the development?
I'd like to respond if everybody is.
Go ahead.
If there's no other comments. Appreciate your time again, and I'm likely going to have one of the representatives of the partner in this project, who's Bill Caton, who's also part of the ownership group, and a couple of our other engineers and architects answer a couple of questions. But I'd like to start out with responding to a few basic points. First, there was a concern raised by Prairie Materials about our easternmost entrance. That is anticipated to be used only by emergency vehicles. The traffic flow is designed so the western access point to the existing private road would be the means of ingress egress for the site. That easternmost access closest to their facility is there to allow pressure relief for emergency vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances, so on and so forth. It's not intended to be the primary means of ingress egress for the site. Furthermore, the LaSalle factors, as they're called, the 8 factors that this commission needs to make a finding of fact on, some of those factors that weren't brought up, one of them is how long has this property been vacant? And one of that answer is it's always been vacant. And as this commission knows, we've tried to bring projects, not me personally, but the property owner has tried to bring projects forward before for other uses, and those have either been rejected by the residents or they've been rejected by the city. And so, trucking was not an appropriate use. They suggest that this would have deleterious effects on the value of their property. They're heavy industrial property in Will County, and I understand that this is the Joliet Plan Commission, not the Will County Plan Commission, but as I appear frequently before both bodies, I can tell you, in I-3 zoning in the county, if somebody wanted to acquire that property from them based on what you can legally do in I-3 zoning, any fear they have of any diminution of value is not very well founded due to how scarce that zoning is in the county because of what can be done on that property. The safety morals, we've gone through many permutations of this design. We've had at least 3 meetings with Joliet staff. We had a neighborhood meeting much sooner and much earlier than would typically be done because we wanted to take into account the feedback of Deer Run. And there was a good turnout to that neighborhood meeting, and we did address many of the concerns. We are aware of Mr. Erickson's request for a berm and a fence. Our engineers stated at the neighborhood meeting that adding a second berm next to another berm is only going to cause more water problems. There's also some grade and elevation changes between our property and Deer Run that makes, the type of privacy fence they're looking for impractical. However, we did agree to explore additional landscape screening and buffering trees and shrubs to help alleviate the concerns about privacy and everything else. As far as fears of trespassing, trespassing is illegal. You're not supposed to do it. And a similar, when this was proposed to be a trucking facility, there was, I believe, a concern raised by certain residents during those public hearings that, well, if it's a truck parking lot, there'll be hookers on the property and we'll have a problem with that. We can't police all illegal activities. If somebody's going to violate the law, they're breaking the law and there are repercussions for that. But that's not what the Planning and Zoning Commission is here to do. You're not to enforce, criminal penalties on trespassers and inappropriate illicit businesses. You're here to evaluate a project based on its merits and based on the needs of the city. Other factors in the LaSalle factors is, what gain is there to the city of Joliet? It's known that Joliet needs more housing, not just housing, but affordable, attainable housing. This fits that bill. The needs of the community, again, there's a known need for housing. This fits that bill. Its compatibility, it is immediately adjacent to an existing Joliet residential subdivision. I'd say residential is pretty compatible to residential. Deer Run raises, members living in Deer Run have raised the concern of, well, if some trees are removed, that's going to make it more prone for dust, noise, and everything else to make its way to Deer Run. What that doesn't take into account is the landscaping we're going to be planting, the buildings we're going to be putting in between them and the concrete plant, the garages that we've specifically designed to act as a sound barrier to these developments. So having this development in the location that we're proposing it, for those members of, those homeowners in Deer Run that are living there, closest to this development, we're actually going to provide more barriers between them and the cement plant than are currently in place. It is, in our opinion, a suitable use because industrial uses here were not favored by the homeowners in Deer Run, and those are Joliet tax-paying, voting citizens. Prairie Materials is located in Will County. And while their concerns are not unfounded, they were voiced to us at our neighborhood meeting. We've done our best to design this in a way that takes into account their existence and tries to buffer it as best we can. And we believe that this plan does a very good job of that. As far as, values, we understand this is, again, a challenging site. And various proposals have been made. And this seems to be the one that most closely aligns with Joliet's present needs and the, putting a compatible use next to Joliet's residents in Deer Run. As far as some of the other concerns about traffic, we do have a traffic engineer who is working on a traffic study. However, I do not believe, based on our current data, while that we expect that report to be available in the near future, it's not currently available. But we've seen no materials, just as several of you on the Plan Commission, from Prairie Materials to even know what they're suggesting is their proposed diminution in value. They attended our neighborhood meeting. They have our contact info. I know we've been in touch with Prairie, yet they've not provided us with any of these alleged issues that they are now saying they've sent you an entire packet on. So I'd be happy to review that and respond to it, in a more thorough fashion, but I can't respond to what I don't have. We're here again, and I'll let Bill talk about some of the other concerns of the neighbors here shortly. But we're here presenting what we feel is a good, compatible project for the city, and we're asking for your consideration and approval. And again, you're a recommending body. The city council ultimately will be making a final say on this, and the engineering will be done to code. As far as the road goes, if road improvements are necessary, we will make them. Right now, my understanding is that road is, a fairly beefy road, and it would match just about any, except for the fact that I don't believe it has curb and gutter right now. I believe it's built to a standard if it can handle the current I-3 industrial traffic. It is certainly of road grade or better. So a few extra residential vehicles on that are not going to have some immense deleterious impact on the road. Second off, with regard to the access, all those vehicles that you heard Prairie Materials talk about merge with residential traffic the moment they get to the frontage road. Because guess where people are driving from to get to Deer Run, to get between, the various roads and on and off the interstate. All this residential traffic, it's already merging with Prairie Materials vehicles, and it's heretofore not been an issue. So why would this be any different? I can't say that it would, and I don't think that it would. And I'm happy to turn this over to Bill to answer a few more questions, unless you have any more questions directly for me at this time.
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name, please.
Bill Caton. I live in Plainfield. I'm one of the owners of the property. And I take very seriously the comments that are made here tonight and the decision that you have to make. I want to talk a little bit about our goals and the value we see this for the community. This is not luxury homes, okay? There's lots of luxury homes and luxury apartments in the area, but they are out of the access of the normal working wage earner. The AMI, the average middle income for Joliet, is $80,820. To have a development, okay, developed so that the wage earner can earn enough money to pay a mortgage on that property of 33 to, some mortgage companies will go to 40% based on your other debt. All right, you have to have homes below 300,000. We're constructing this, okay, to have pricing somewhere between the high 260s and 290s. At this time, that's the best guesstimate we have because we don't have our final numbers, and every day the 2x4 costs, okay, bounce up, bounce down, concrete. I'm hoping because we're so close to Prairie that we might be able to save some money there. But this is what we're trying to accomplish. In order to do that, we also have to have density. The land cost, the labor cost, okay, June 1st is coming up, and all of the construction labor unions are going to get a raise, and they deserve a raise. I'm not down it, but that cost over the last 20 years of raises every June 1st have changed the market, okay, and what a developer such as ourselves can deliver to a public and make it affordable. So that's our major goal. Now, secondary to that, yes, would we like to have a site that didn't have a prairie next to us? That would be great. However, this is what we own, and we're trying to make this a productive site. Some of the concerns that the Prairie has spoken about were our concerns also, all right? And we did everything we could in our design, multiple changes. And I think, Mitch, it was you at our meeting with the neighborhoods that he was surprised, okay, that we gave so much thought to our design, okay? And he thought that it was, well thought out, okay, at that particular time. The traffic and the road, we have traffic increasing everywhere. And as Nate pointed out, all that traffic dumps into the frontage road. Fortunately, and I thank Prairie for doing this, Prairie has built a road that is superior to the frontage road. It's superior not only in its construction, because it's all cement, and because it's designed to handle all of his trucks, but it's also wider, okay? It's not narrow, it's 40 feet wide. Well, they only have if they look, their right-of-way is only 30 feet. So they're built on 10 feet of our property, which we're okay with, okay? We're not condemning that. In this case, it helps us, all right? So having that 40 feet, okay, is a blessing to us, okay, in terms of development and helping create safety there. So traffic, safety concerns, neighborhood, developments, okay, the goal for the neighborhood, what we can create as a community for people so they can afford to stay in and work in the area with their jobs is something that I keep hearing, okay, not Joliet, okay, every community, okay, that is working is trying to find a solution to this, okay, to keep people there. So I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to hearing more from our neighbors. If they have things that we can do in addition to what we've already done, we would certainly entertain those in the time frame. So thank you for your consideration, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak on this at all? Being that, do we have any kind of a motion for A-2-20?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say in parting, my last comment is, we do, we would respectfully ask that you vote in favor with a recommendation of approval. However, if the concerns that have been voiced here give any of you pause, we would ask that, if you feel sufficiently concerned that a table would be, we would be amenable to accepting a vote of a table for a month, so we can further review any of Prairie's materials that literal and figurative that they've provided, and provide any additional answers to this commission at a future date should you have those questions.
Can I have a motion for a table on this for a month?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that this project be denied due to the fact that the surrounding area is all commercial and industrial.
Okay. Is there a second for that, what Dominic just said? Okay, either way, there gotta be a motion. Do I have a motion for something on this other
Motion for
than?
approval.
You move for approval? Yeah. Do I have a second for a motion for approval? Well, we got a negative and we got a no, so they gotta have us, and I can't make that second motion on either one of them. So somebody else is gonna have to get off the fence and decide what they wanna do.
Mr. Torrey, if we did table, which I'm not saying that, but, or, I mean, if we did vote today, sorry, this would go to what meeting at the city council? Do you know what the date of that would be?
I think it's the 17th and 18th of June, second meeting in June. 17th and 18th.
Would that provide Prairie the adequate time that they said that they needed to provide the other resources to Mr. Washburn? Then I don't see a reason to table.
The information that was sent to us?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that, and they said that they had another consultant that had more resources that they weren't able to get documentation from because of such short notice. I'm not speaking on this alone, right?
Would
Everybody
there
heard
be enough
that?
time for you to send it to their lawyer?
Yes, that would be, but we're also concerned about seeing the traffic study. Would that be done, their traffic study be done by then, I'm wondering?
The road study? Will the road study be done by then?
To keep with formalities, so I'm not just shouting from the back of the room.
Thank you.
No, there was no knock on you. I was sitting way in back, so I didn't want to yell over everybody. Our traffic engineer was nodding that we should have our traffic study before that date.
Okay, so you're making a motion for a table then?
Nope, I'd like to vote on it today.
There's a motion, I think, for approval.
For approval, so we're looking for a
There's one
second.
for turning it down, but I don't have a second on either.
Right, and so I don't know if that motion for approval has officially died yet.
Nothing's been, because nothing has been.
I know, there was a motion for approval.
Hasn't been approved.
I will second a motion for denial.
There second the motion for denial. Okay. So that was the first motion was for denial, and that's the second motion for denial. Now we can take a vote.
Mr. Orlando
Yes.
made the first motion
For denial.
for denial. I would like to second the motion for denial so that we can at least get a vote.
Okay.
Was that done appropriately, Chris?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
So
Why not?
if you want to make a motion to deny it, make that motion, and then there will be a second.
He did
But you have to make a new
He
motion.
made the
that
motion.
motion, and now she's seconding it.
But that
Because he made it.
first one
We have to go
died.
one by one. Since that was the first one, nobody voted on it, so now he made the motion for approval. Nobody voted on it. I will now make a motion for
You
denial.
have to make a second now.
I'll make a second
That's right.
There we go.
for
Now-
denial.
Yes,
Now we can vote.
that's right, correct, Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
I'm working on it.
That was a lot.
It's all right.
And to clarify, it'd be an aye for denial, a nay for approval.
Mr. Orlando?
Nay.
Ayes for denial.
Oh, aye, for denial, sorry.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Rusinellos? He had to leave, he had an emergency. Mr. Cox?
No.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Unfortunately for you, it still goes to the city council. and the concrete people made a good, you made a good thing. Aye.
So we got a, 1, 2,
1, 2, 3,
5,
4,
5, 1 in favor to deny. So that will go to City Council June 17th and 18th with recommendation for denial. Next case is Z0224, the zoning ordinance amendments related to solar energy systems. Under general information, the applicant is the City of Joliet. Requested action as approval of a zoning ordinance amendments to establish solar energy systems as accessory uses and as special uses in various sections. Under purpose is to facilitate the construction, installation, and operation of solar energy systems. Under special information, the state and federal governments continue to offer financial incentives for solar energy systems. This includes incentives for homeowners or property owners to place solar panels on their homes, as well as incentives for larger scale commercial solar farm operations. Joliet has permitted smaller scale solar energy systems at residential and commercial properties as accessory uses to the principal main use, house, store, warehouses. In 2023, the City of Joliet issued 431 permits for solar energy systems at a residential properties. Joliet does not have regulations to facilitate the siting or use of land for larger scale solar operation. Consequently, such land use requests have been directed to apply for a zoning exception. Did we lose everything? To apply for a zoning exception through the Zoning Board of Appeals. In 2018, the Zoning Board of Appeals approved 4 zoning exceptions to allow IGS Solar to install solar array systems at 4 locations at the Chicagoland Speedway, of which only 1 was constructed. There have been several inquiries for large-scale solar since this time, but no other petitions for a zoning exception have been submitted. Under discussions, staff seeks amendments to the zoning ordinance to facilitate the construction, installation, and operation of solar energy systems in the city in a manner that promotes economic development, ensures the protection of health, safety, and welfare, while also avoiding adverse impacts on adjoining property or on the environment. New section of the zoning ordinance, section 47-15J, solar energy systems, will provide definitions that distinguish between the types of scales of solar energy systems and will provide requirements on height, setback, siting, safety, and maintenance. Additionally, the zoning ordinance would be amended throughout to distinguish when solar energy systems are accessory uses and where they are allowed through the issuance of a special use permit. Staff recommends that ground mount, roof mount, or building integrated solar energy systems designed to serve only the occupants of the parcel on which they are located shall be a permitted use as an accessory use in all zoning districts where there is a principal structure. Ground mount community solar projects and commercial large-scale solar farms may be allowed by special use in the I-2 general industrial zoning districts. Roof-mounted community solar projects may be allowed by special use in the I-1 and I-1 light industrial and I-2 general industrial zoning districts by special use, but shall not exceed the height of the principal structure and shall allow for adequate roof access for firefighting purposes. Summary of the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance regarding solar energy systems are below, and the full proposal is included in the staff report packet. It goes into sections of permitted uses and amendments to our zoning ordinance, how these would fit into our zoning code. And I believe that concludes our staff report.
Thanks, Jim. I got several questions, though,
Okay?
since you guys are doing this. One, I read the other part of this. If it's not on a house or on a building, you got a limit of 20 feet up in the air. Why is it only 20 feet? Why not? Because some houses are up to 50 feet. I know got a building at 35 feet. Why can't a pole be 35 feet up in the air and then put it on?
You know, I don't know, the reasoning, you know, behind the 20 feet, that was, you know, mostly probably to keep it under the height of like a house
Yeah.
or,
But there's houses that are way more than 20 feet in this town. I was just
yeah,
curious.
typically they are 30 feet. So we did not want them sticking above the roof line of these houses like in 70s and 80s when people used to have antennas on their houses.
Okay. Then you got, second is the side yard setback. When you're talking side yard, so you have a house and maybe the guy has another lot. Are you talking about the other lot they can't go on?
No, in between the house and the side property line, that's considered your side yard setback.
And what's that setback at, do you know?
For a typical one-story, it could be as low as 6 feet. These are our new standards. There's houses in older existing subdivisions that are less than that, but new standards for a one-story, a minimum is typically 6 feet, and for a two-story, the minimum is 8 feet
To the property line.
from the side of the house to the property line.
Okay. And then I saw where you guys had on the, people were putting up maybe for a building or for, I don't know what, out in the field. You want an insurance policy that, for them to, and put the city down for $1 million? What was that for? Well, we'd be liable for anything at that point.
Yeah, it's a liability.
That's also
I
a
think-
cost to any business that does that.
Pardon me?
It's also a big cost to any business that does that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's out of the ordinary for something along these lines to,
Well, what possible reason would we need $1 million security on it?
you know, I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
he's got an answer.
I think I can help you with that, Jim. So a lot of times that's for construction and whatnot as they go through it. In this case, it's kind of a specialty use, and the equipment that's on there is actually rated for more than what most.
So after construction's over, though, the person would still have to carry $1 million policy for the city.
Yeah, that's actually a typical thing as we go through with these solar farms. That's a very common process that people are putting into place for securities for solar farms as we go on.
Well, why do we need to have $1 million on our end to cover us?
Will be the owner providing that for us, but it's,
We're not the owner, though. We're, you know, Joe Blow puts it up, but he's got to make sure we're covered for $1 million.
So it'd be equivalent to it'd be like equivalent to having homeowner's insurance, right?
essentially.
So you want your home to be insured, you would want the property in case something, I don't know, like a hurricane,
Well,
a tornado came
They
through.
want a policy for the
Right?
city to have $1 million.
No, they said for the owner.
It's for the owner.
It's for
I
the owner,
believe,
not the
right?
city.
Right, Jim?
But the city as a beneficiary is when I read it.
Correct. So
I
the
don't
owner
remember
would be
this 'cause they
providing
did this
that.
For the boat, and they want 500, which I understand,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to have $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question is, who's going to inspect all this? I saw that there's going to be inspections, so who's inspecting it?
Our building department would be one of the inspections. I don't know if Public Works would also inspect.
Yes. We would have various pieces of it as
What's their
well.
qualifications to inspect it? So, I mean, I don't know nothing about solar.
They inspect all sorts of stuff, you know, racetracks and.
Wouldn't that be something maybe the electrical people would do?
That'd be part of the building department.
They have an electrical inspector on staff.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, somewhere in the thing, it said the director. So who's the director for this to begin with?
Community Development Director?
Yeah. Because it said the community development, and now, this is just for a solar farm, not for, I mean, there's a lot of houses with solar. They get the right to go on the property and inspect stuff. I'm thinking, what's their qualifications for inspection?
They just oversee the building department, so they would likely defer to the electrical inspector or a building
And
inspector.
you're not inspecting all these houses that have solar though, are you?
I believe they do some sort of inspection.
Would it be
yes.
similar to like a roof inspection? You know, you get your roof
Yeah.
done, you have to make an appointment type thing? Is that what
That's
we're referring
right.
to?
You got,
If you're selling
We-
a house, you do that?
What is, would it be for selling a house, or it would be inspection upon
installation. They get a permit with us for every roof mount solar.
Yeah.
system.
It'd be initial inspection, but when I read the other, a lot of other paperwork, it said like it's an ongoing thing where they can, I need to come by your house tomorrow and inspect your thing again. We did it just 2 days ago or 2 years ago. Yeah, but I gotta do it again. And then my question would be after that would be, we're not gonna start charging people for this, are we? These are homeowners.
Would it,
There's only one inspection upon installation.
but if there was
just
like a complaint, like, you know, somebody
Oh.
forged a complaint, it looks as if it's about to fall off the roof, that
Yeah.
is when a compliance officer of some sort would come and inspect it again, right?
That's a property maintenance thing, so we would inspect, yeah, just like
Yeah.
if your shingles were blowing off your roof or something like that, and there was,
It'd be more of a code enforcement type scenario.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Torrey, I have a
Yeah.
question for you.
Okay.
too. In case there's wind damage on the roof, would the solar company have to okay the removal of the solar panels, so that way the roofing contractor can get on there?
I'm not sure if I followed you,
If you had a roof damage somehow, they have to take the panels off to redo your roof, who's gonna be in charge of all that?
Yeah.
that's a private property
That was
issue.
just
So
private
if somebody,
property.
yeah, like
So then-
if a homeowner had a solar system on their roof and it was in disrepair, again, it'd just be up to
Okay.
them.
And I think
to-
it also, doesn't this also, there's kind of a fine line with that question, because some people are gonna rent these units, are gonna lease them, and some people are gonna own them. So I imagine if you own and maintain your own, then you would be responsible for finding somebody to remove it and replace or repair it. However, if you lease it, you probably have a leasing agreement with the person that has installed your solar. So they would be the ones responsible for contacting if you're getting a new roof, and that would be in the contract when you made your purchase, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a private
Yeah.
property issue on how they want to maintain their system that they either own or rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one question regarding more the farms.
Now
Are
we
there
got
many
questions.
solar farms in the city at all?
No, like the staff report said, we did a few near the racetrack
Which
a few
didn't
years
follow
ago.
through.
But that is it, and they are not huge farms.
So my concern now is if, say, somebody's got 50 acres residential that's not going, and if it's zone residential, if I read it correctly, I'm just trying to clarify it, if I read it correctly, if it's zone residential, they'll have to zone it I-2, and then they need a special use.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So like the last project we just voted on, they can't get anything done, they put a solar farm on that property.
If they had I-2 zoning and approval of a special use permit. So there's no guarantees,
That's specifically for only farms?
correct.
Okay.
yes. If a warehouse wants to put a large system on their roof for a community solar panel system that benefits a community, that could be a special use permit in the I-1 or I-2 light industrial district, as the draft
I
is.
thought one of
being
the pictures showed a warehouse with, the whole roof was covered in it. Figured that was
Yeah.
in Joliet, wasn't it?
No, North Carolina.
No,
Oh.
Carolina.
yeah. I don't think that's in Joliet, but if it's a solar system that they want to utilize for their own purpose, then that is just accessory, and they would just request a building permit from us to do that.
Okay.
If it's, though, on their roof and they want it to be utilized for community purposes, where a provider is buying back energy from them, then that would require a special use permit.
Okay, do you know what the current price on the permits is on these days for something like that?
I don't,
Okay.
no, yeah.
Council may ask you that question.
I'll be prepared.
Do we have a motion for TMP 7292-A-2-24?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Rourke?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Orlando?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
And that one will go to city council. second meeting in June, 17th and 18th. But anybody interested in that should check back and make sure that stays on course.
Okay.
Let's see, we have no new business. We have no new or old business not for final action or recommendation. Public comments, we have no public, I don't think, that wants to make a comment. And so then you could go to adjournment if you choose.
Motion for adjournment?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.